Dr. Trent Clive, medical officer, former CDC field epidemiologist, recording from Facility 7, Kansas. That's what we call it now. Facility 7. It used to have a real name, Fort Riley Biohazard Research Complex. But that was before the exchanges, before the mutation started, before humanity became something else. Date is March 14th, 2032, 7 years post-exchange. I'm documenting this because someone needs to know what actually happened here, what we've been hiding, what the government's been covering up since year 3. I'm recording on battery power, solar charged. We still have some infrastructure, enough to survive, enough to document. I've kept medical logs since the beginning, since the strikes, official documentation, patient records, mutation progression tracking, all of it. But this recording, this one's different. This one's the truth. Let me state the medical facts first. Professional documentation. Then I'll tell you what they mean. Year 1 post-exchange. Immediate survival phase. Radiation casualties in the millions. Standard acute radiation syndrome. Nausea, vomiting, hemorrhaging, cell death, bone marrow failure. We knew what to expect. We'd trained for it. Medical literature was clear. 400 Röntgen exposure, 50% mortality. 600 Röntgen, 90%. We saw it all. Treated what we could. Lost most of them. Year 2. Long-term radiation effects manifesting. Cancers. Immune system collapse. Organ failure. Again expected. Documented. We set up field hospitals in the surviving facilities. Fort Riley was one of them. Hardened structure. Underground labs. Filtration systems. We had maybe 200 survivors here. Medical staff. Military personnel. Civilian refugees who made it to the gates before we sealed. Year 3. That's when it started. The mutations. Not cancer. Not standard radiation damage. Something else. Something new. My daughter. Let me tell you about my daughter. Fiona. She was 9 years old when the exchanges happened. I got her here. To Fort Riley. We were in Kansas City when the alerts came. 47 miles from the facility. I had federal clearance. Access codes. I drove. Traffic was stopped. Complete gridlock. Everyone trying to evacuate. I went off-road. Drove through fields. Anything to reach the facility. The flash came when we were 12 miles out. Kansas City went up. 400 kiloton warhead. I saw it in the rearview mirror. Fiona was in the back seat. She saw it too. We made it. Fiona and I made it to Fort Riley before the fallout arrived. They let us in. Federal personnel priority access. We survived year 1. Year 2. She was healthy. No immediate damage. I thought we were lucky. I thought she was going to be okay. Year 3. Fiona turned 12. That's when I noticed the changes. Her eyes. They started changing color. Not gradually. Not like normal color shift. One morning they were brown. Her mother's eyes. 3 days later they were gray. Pale gray. Almost silver. I ran tests. Genetic analysis. Cellular samples. The results didn't make sense. Her DNA was changing. Actively rewriting itself. Not cancer. Not mutation in the random damage sense. Structured mutation. Organized. Like something was editing her genetic code. Deliberately. I'm a doctor. 15 years with CDC. Field epidemiology. Infectious disease. Genetic disorders. I've seen a lot. This was new. This was impossible. Fiona wasn't the only one. Other children at the facility. Same thing. Eyes changing color. Some gray like Fiona's. Some amber. Some pale blue that almost glowed in low light. We documented it. Medical protocol. Logged every case. Reported to command structure. To whoever was left of federal authority. Then the physical changes started. Year 4. Fiona was 13. She stopped getting sick. Completely. No illness at all. Her immune system. I ran the tests. It was operating at 400% normal efficiency. That's not possible. That's not how human biology works. But the tests don't lie. Her cellular regeneration. I took tissue samples. Healing rate was accelerated. Cuts that should take a week to heal. Gone in 2 days. Bruises vanished overnight. Her body was repairing itself faster than normal. Much faster. I'm documenting this clinically. Professional terminology. But you need to understand. This was my daughter. My 9-year-old girl who loved drawing. Who wanted to be a veterinarian someday. She was changing into something that wasn't quite human anymore. And I couldn't stop it. Couldn't slow it down. Could only watch and document. Other parents at the facility. Same thing. We compared notes. Formed a parents group. Unofficial. We all saw the same changes in our children. Eyes. Immune systems. Healing rates. Some kids developed enhanced senses. Hearing things we couldn't hear. Seeing in darkness that should be pitch black. One girl, she was 11. She could smell radiation. Actually smell it. Described it as metallic. Sweet. She could detect contaminated areas before the Geiger counters registered anything. The adults. We weren't changing. Just the children. Just the ones who were young when the exchanges happened. Under 15 years old. Something about developing biology. Growing bodies. Radiation exposure during critical development phase. The mutations took hold. Rewrote them. Year 5. Military command started calling them the altered. Capital A, official designation. The altered. Children with post-nuclear genetic modification. They established quarantine protocols. Separate living quarters. Restricted access. Medical monitoring 24 hours. My daughter was classified altered. Moved to isolation wing. I fought it. I'm her father. I'm a doctor. I have clearance. They said quarantine was necessary. For everyone's safety. For observation. For research. They said the changes might be contagious. Might spread to non-altered population. No evidence of that, but they quarantined anyway. Fiona was separated from me. I could visit. Supervised. 30 minutes per day. Medical observation room. Reinforced glass between us. Like she was dangerous. Like my 13-year-old daughter was a threat. She asked me why. Why they locked her up. Why the other kids with normal eyes got to stay with their parents. Why she was different. What was wrong with her? I didn't have answers. Just medical documentation. Genetic test results. Proof that she was changing. Proof that didn't explain anything. Didn't tell me why. Didn't tell me how to fix it. Year 6. Last year. More changes. The altered children. All of them. They stopped aging. Not completely, but drastically slowed. Fiona's biological age. 14 by calendar. But her cellular age. 12. Maybe younger. Her telomeres. The DNA sequences that shorten with age. They were lengthening. Regenerating. That doesn't happen. That's not possible. The military brought in specialists. Geneticists. Radiation biologists. Teams from other surviving facilities. They studied the altered children. Took samples. Ran experiments. Called it research. Called it necessary for humanity's survival. For understanding the changes. For developing countermeasures. They wouldn't let me see the full research data. Classified. Above my clearance level. I'm the chief medical officer at this facility. But they classified the research on my own daughter above my access level. 2 months ago. January. I found a way into the classified system. Old CDC access codes. Still active somehow. Federal database architecture survived the war better than the government did. I searched for research files. Project altered. Facility 7 documentation. What I found. What they've been hiding. This wasn't natural mutation. The genetic changes in our children. This wasn't random radiation damage causing beneficial adaptation. This was engineered. Pre-war research files. Dated 8 years before the exchanges. Defense Department project. Classified black budget program. Genetic modification research. Using controlled radiation exposure to trigger specific changes. Goal was creating enhanced soldiers. Superior immune systems. Accelerated healing. Enhanced senses. Longer lifespan. Super soldiers. The research was conducted here. At Fort Riley. In the underground labs. Where we're living now. Where we brought our children for safety. The program failed. Pre-war. Test subjects died. Radiation killed them before modifications could stabilize. 97% mortality rate. The 3% who survived. Severe mutations. Uncontrolled. Fatal. program was terminated. Officially, labs were sealed. Subjects were. The files don't say. Probably disposed of, but they left something behind. The genetic modification vector. It was designed to be triggered by specific radiation exposure. Specific isotope signatures. The exact isotopes produced by nuclear detonation. Weapons-grade uranium. Plutonium. The fallout. The labs here. Underground. Sealed but not sterile. The vector was still here. Dormant. Waiting. When the exchanges happened. When the fallout came. When we brought survivors underground. Brought children underground. The vector activated. Infected them. Started the modifications the way it was designed to do. But in growing children instead of adult soldiers. In developing biology. The mutations aren't natural adaptation. They're bioweapon activation. Pre-war super soldier program succeeding posthumously. Our children are the test subjects the military wanted. Anansomans. Altered. They're becoming what the Defense Department tried to create and couldn't. My daughter, Fiona. She's not sick. She's not damaged. She's been successfully modified by a bioweapon that was supposed to be terminated 9 years ago. A weapon that's making her stronger. Faster healing. Better senses. Longer life. She's 14 years old. She's in quarantine. And she's the future of humanity, whether we want her to be or not. I have the files. I have proof. I'm recording this because the military command knows. They've known since year 3. Since the mutation started. They recognized the modification patterns. They sealed the research. Classified it. Kept it from the medical staff. Kept it from the parents. They've been studying our children as experimental subjects. Documenting the success of a program they thought they'd buried. Fiona asked me last week. During visitation. She asked if she was still human. If the changes made her something else. If I still loved her even though she was different. I told her she's my daughter. Always. That nothing changes that. But I didn't answer the first question. Is she still human? I don't know. The genetic drift is significant. 37% of her genome has been rewritten. At what point does modification become speciation? At what percentage does altered become other? I'm leaving this recording. Leaving the files. Someone needs to know. The government. What's left of it? They created this. They built the weapon that's changing our children. They're studying the results without telling us the truth. Without telling us what our children are becoming. This is Dr. Trent Clive. Facility 7. March 14th, 2032. Year 7 post-exchange. Day 2557 of the New World. My daughter is in quarantine wing. I'm going to visit her. 30 minutes. Reinforced glass. Medical observation. She'll ask me questions I can't answer. She'll show me her latest drawings. She draws the old world. Cities. Cars. Things she barely remembers. Things that don't exist anymore. She's 14. She'll live to be 200 if the projections are correct. She'll outlive me by a century and a half. She'll inherit a world that died before she could understand what it was. That's my reality. That's our reality. The altered are humanity's future. Whether we're ready or not. Year 6. October. 5 months ago. That's when the military made their decision. That's when everything changed again. Command called meeting. All senior staff. Medical. Military. Administration. Conference room in the command level. Secure facility. I attended. Chief Medical Officer. I thought it was routine. Status update. Resource allocation. Standard post-war administration. Colonel Pemberton ran the meeting. Facility commander. Career military. He'd been at Fort Riley pre-war. Survived the exchanges. Maintained order. Kept the facility functional. Good leader. By the numbers. Protocol focused. He started with population statistics. 203 survivors at Facility 7. 47 of them altered children. Ages 10 to 17. All showing continued genetic modification. All quarantined for observation and research. Then he showed projections. Population sustainability analysis. Resource consumption rates. Medical supply depletion. Food production capacity. Water purification limits. Standard logistics. We'd seen these reports before. Knew the facility was operating at capacity. Barely sustainable long term. Then Pemberton showed the new data. The data about the altered. Resource consumption comparison. Altered children versus non-altered population. The modified kids. They eat 30% less than normal humans. Their enhanced metabolism. More efficient. They need less food for same energy output. Less water. Their bodies conserve resources better. Process nutrients more efficiently. Medical supply usage. Altered children. Near zero. They don't get sick. Don't need antibiotics. Don't need immune boosters. Don't need the limited pharmaceutical supplies we have left. Non-altered population. We consume everything. Every aspirin. Every antibiotic dose. Every pain reliever. We need it. The altered don't. Radiation resistance. The modified kids can survive in higher contamination zones. Their cellular repair mechanisms. Enhanced. They can work in areas that would sicken normal humans. Can scavenge from locations we've abandoned as too hot. Can expand our resource gathering range significantly. Pemberton laid it out. Clinical. Professional. The altered children are more efficient survivors than we are. They consume less. Produce more. Resist environmental hazards better. They're adapted to the post-nuclear world. We're not. Then he got to the recommendation. The one that made my blood freeze. Given resource constraints and long-term facility sustainability concerns, Command proposes phased transition to altered primary population. Non-altered population to be reduced through controlled decommissioning protocols. Priority preservation for altered children as demonstrated optimal survivors for post-exchange environment. Timeline, 18 months. Initial phase begins January, year 7. Controlled decommissioning. That's what he said. Not killing. Not elimination. Decommissioning. Like we're equipment. Like non-altered humans are obsolete hardware. I'm sitting there, listening to this. The colonel's saying they're going to reduce the adult population. The parents. The non-modified humans. Reduce us. Because we consume more resources than we produce. Because we're less efficient than our mutated children. Because in the cost-benefit analysis, we're the expensive option. My daughter's in quarantine. She's 14. Enhanced immune system. Accelerated healing. She'll outlive everyone in this room by a century. And they're proposing killing her father because I eat too much food. Use too much medicine. Take up space that could support more altered children. I'm trying to process this. Trying to find words. Someone else spoke first. Dr. Rafferty, psychologist. She asked what controlled decommissioning means exactly. What's the protocol? Pemberton stated it. Clinical. Calm. Non-altered population over age 40. Voluntary termination program. Encouraged. Incentivized. Access to comfort medications. Peaceful process. Those who decline voluntary participation. Reassigned to external work details. High radiation zones. Limited protective equipment. Projected survival. 3 to 8 months depending on exposure. Over age 40. I'm 43. I'm on the termination list. I asked about parents. About the altered children's parents. Most of us are over 40. What happens to them when we're decommissioned? Pemberton said the altered don't need parents. Not the way normal children do. Their emotional development is different. Modified. They form community bonds. Peer attachments. But not strong parental dependency. It's part of the enhancement. The genetic modification included psychological resilience. Reduced emotional vulnerability. They won't be traumatized by parental loss the way normal children would be. He's saying my daughter won't care when they kill me. That her modified brain won't process grief the way human children do. That eliminating her father is acceptable because she's been engineered not to need me. I lost it. I'm not proud of it. Professional composure gone. I'm shouting, calling it murder, calling them genocidal, saying they can't kill half the facility to save resources, saying the altered children are still children, still need adults, still need parents whether they're modified or not. Pemberton let me finish. Then he said it's not murder. It's trio. It's survival mathematics. The facility can support current population for maybe 5 more years. After that, collapse, starvation, everyone dies. But if we reduce non-altered population now, if we transition to altered primary facility, we can survive indefinitely. The modified children can thrive, can rebuild, can become foundation for post-war humanity. That's worth the sacrifice. Worth the sacrifice. He's talking about killing me, killing Fiona's father, and calling it sacrifice like it's noble. The vote. Command structure vote. Protocol requires majority approval for population reduction protocols. 12 senior staff members. Obviously, Dr. Rafferty voted no. 3 others voted no. 7 voted yes, including the chief of medicine, including the senior biologist, including people I respected, people who agreed that killing the adults to save resources for modified children is acceptable mathematics. 7 to 5. Motion passed. Implementation timeline approved. January, year 7. 2 months ago, phase 1 began. Voluntary termination program announced to non-altered population over 40. 73 people. That's how many of us are on the list. 73 adults over 40. Parents, medical staff, engineers, the people who've kept this facility running for 7 years. We're being offered voluntary death, or forced labor in radiation zones until we die anyway. The incentive. If we accept voluntary termination, our children get priority resources, better quarters, enhanced education, guaranteed survival. If we refuse, our children get reclassified, lower priority, reduced rations. It's extortion. Accept death or watch your children suffer. 41 people accepted. In the first month, 41 parents went to the medical center, took the sedatives, went to sleep, didn't wake up. Their children were moved to enhanced living quarters, given better food, better resources, rewarded for being orphans. Fiona asked me about it. During visitation, she asked why Mrs. Brennan wasn't visiting anymore, why Tommy's mother stopped coming, why the other parents were disappearing. I told her, I'm not lying to my daughter. I told her command is killing people to save resources, that they're starting with adults over 40, that her father is on the list. She asked if I was going to take the voluntary option, if I was going to die. I said no. I'm not volunteering. I'm not leaving her. I'm fighting this, finding a way to stop it, finding a way to save the adults who are left. She got quiet. Then she said something that's been echoing in my head ever since. She said, you should go, Dad. It makes sense. The altered can survive better. You said so yourself. In your medical reports. We're adapted. You're not. If you stay, they'll make you work radiation zones. You'll die slow. If you take the voluntary, it's peaceful. It's logical. My 14-year-old daughter, telling me logically why I should kill myself, using my own medical data to argue that my death is efficient. And she said it calm, clinical, no tears, no emotion, just stating facts, like she was discussing resource allocation, not her father's termination. That's when I understood. The psychological modification, the reduced emotional vulnerability Pemberton mentioned. It's real. Fiona's been changed. Not just physically, mentally. Her brain's been rewired. She processes loss differently, processes love differently. She cares about me. I think she does, but not the way she did before. Not the way a human child loves a parent. The modifications are making them other. Not just enhanced humans. Different species. Different psychology. Fiona looks like my daughter. Sounds like my daughter. But the person inside, the way she thinks, the way she feels, that's not human anymore. That's something else. I have a choice now. Same choice as 73 other adults here. Accept voluntary termination. Peaceful death. Fiona gets priority resources. Better life. Better future. Or refuse. Get sent to radiation zones. Die slowly over months. Fiona gets punished for my choice. Lower resources. Harder survival. Both options end with me dead. Only difference is how fast and what happens to Fiona afterward. I'm a doctor. I understand trio. I understand sacrifice. But this isn't medicine. This is eugenics. This is deciding modified humans are worth more than natural humans. That adaptation outweighs humanity. That efficiency justifies elimination. I spent 2 weeks trying to find alternatives, trying to find a way to increase resources, to make the mathematics work, to save the adults without condemning the children. I went through facility systems, old storage areas, abandoned sections, looking for forgotten supplies. extra food stores, medical caches, anything that could buy time, buy lives. I found something else instead. Research lab, sublevel 4, section that was sealed pre-war. Biohazard containment. I had access codes from my CDC credentials. Federal clearance. I went in. Empty lab. Sterilization protocols still active. But the computers, the terminals still had power. Isolated system. Pre-war data intact. I searched research files. Project Chrysalis. That was the original program name. The genetic modification research. The super soldier program. I wanted to understand what was done to our children. Wanted full documentation. Maybe find something that could help. Some way to reverse the modifications. Return them to human baseline. Make them normal again. I found the files. Complete research documentation. Test protocols. Subject results. Genetic modification vectors. All of it. Every experiment. Every failure. Every death. Then I found the classified addendum. The one that wasn't in the main database. The one that was locked in isolated systems. Eyes-only documentation. Defense Department highest clearance. Project Chrysalis didn't fail. Not completely. The modifications worked. In children. They'd tested it on children. Pre-war. Classified black site. Juvenile subjects. Ages 8 to 14. Controlled radiation exposure. Genetic vector activation. 97% mortality in adults. But in developing biology. Children. 73% survival rate. And the survivors. They showed the same changes. Enhanced immunity. Accelerated healing. All of it, the program succeeded. With children, they proved it worked. Proved they could create enhanced humans using radiation-triggered genetic modification. Proved it 9 years before the war. Then they terminated the program. Not because it failed, because it succeeded too well. The modified children, they kept changing, kept diverging. By age 18, they weren't human anymore. Psychology altered. Emotional baseline different. Empathy reduced. Social bonding restructured. They were superior physically. But psychologically, they were other. Different species. The researchers recommended termination. Of the program. Of the subjects. Modified juveniles present long-term speciation risk. Psychological divergence renders subjects unsuitable for military integration. Baseline humanity preservation requires immediate protocol cessation and subject disposal. Subject disposal. They killed them. The modified children. The successful test subjects. They killed them because the modifications worked too well. Because they created something that wasn't human enough to control. Wasn't human enough to trust. Our children. Fiona. The other altered kids. They're following the same pattern. The same progression the pre-war test subjects showed. The enhanced abilities. The psychological changes. The emotional divergence. They're becoming what those children became. The children the government killed to prevent exactly this. The files had projections. Long-term development models. By age 20. Full psychological divergence. Emotional baseline reduced by 60%. Empathy structures altered. Social bonding limited to altered peer groups. Aggression toward non-altered humans increased. Survival instinct prioritized over moral consideration. By age 25. Speciation complete. Homo superior. That's what the researchers called it. New species. Human-derived but no longer human. Stronger. Smarter. Longer lived. And completely incapable of coexisting with baseline humanity. The psychological modifications ensure it. They'll see us as inferior. As competition for resources. As obsolete. Fiona's 14. 6 years from full divergence. 6 years before she stops being my daughter and becomes something that looks like her but isn't. Something that will look at me and see obstacle. Resource drain. Evolutionary dead end. The military command knows this. Pemberton knows. They have the same files. That's why they're killing the adults. Not just for resources. For survival. Because in 6 years the altered children will be diverged enough to eliminate us anyway. Command's getting ahead of it. Controlling the transition. Decommissioning us on our terms instead of waiting for the modified children to do it on theirs. I'm standing in that lab, reading this documentation, understanding what my daughter is becoming. Understanding what the government created and tried to bury. Understanding that the nuclear war didn't end humanity. It activated a biological weapon that's ending humanity. Slowly, generationally, replacing us with something else. My choice isn't between voluntary death and slow death. My choice is between dying now or dying in 6 years when Fiona and the other altered children psychologically diverge enough to see me as something that needs to be eliminated. I have the files. I have proof. The government created this, tested it on children, killed the evidence, then lost control when the war activated dormant vectors in surviving facilities. This wasn't natural mutation. This wasn't adaptation. This was genocide by bioweapon. Delayed. Intergenerational. But genocide just the same. I'm taking these files, copying them, recording this truth, because someone needs to know. Before the altered are all that's left. Before baseline humanity is extinct, and there's no one who remembers we existed. That we were the original. That we didn't choose to be replaced. My daughter's becoming something that won't mourn me. Won't remember me the way a human child remembers their parent. The modifications are stealing her humanity piece by piece. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. Nothing I can do except document what happened. Document what we lost. Document that humanity didn't die in the nuclear fire. It died 7 years later when we brought our children underground and activated a weapon we didn't know existed. This is Dr. Trent Clive, Facility 7, Year 7 post-exchange. I've found the truth, and the truth is, we're already extinct. We just don't know it yet. The altered are the future, not humanity's future. Humanity's replacement. Fiona asked if she's still human. I didn't answer. Now I know. No, she's not. Not anymore. She's what comes after. I went to see Fiona. After finding the files. After reading what she's becoming. I needed to see her. Needed to talk to her. Needed to. I don't know what I needed. Confirmation maybe. Evidence that the research was wrong. That my daughter's still in there. Still human. Still mine. Quarantine wing. Reinforced glass. 30-minute visitation. Standard protocol. Fiona was waiting in the observation room. Drawing. She's always drawing. Sketches of the old world. Cities. Highways. Things she barely remembers. She looked up when I entered. Smiled. That smile. It looks like her smile. Like it always did. But I'm watching differently now. Analyzing. Looking for the divergence. Looking for signs of other. I sat down. Picked up the intercom handset. She picked up hers. Hey, Dad. She said it normal. Casual. Like this was normal. Like talking through reinforced glass was natural. Hey, Fiona Bear. Old nickname. From when she was 6. She used to pretend to be a bear. Growl and chase me around the house. That was before. Before the world ended. Before the modifications. She showed me her drawing. New one. Downtown Kansas City. The skyline. Before the strikes. She'd drawn it from memory. Detailed. Accurate. Too accurate for someone who was 9 when she last saw it. Shouldn't remember it this clearly. But the modifications. Enhanced memory processing. Crystalline recall. It's documented. One of the changes. You've been busy. I said it light. Conversational. Trying to keep normal. Trying to act like a father visiting his daughter. Not a doctor observing a test subject. Yeah. I'm drawing all the cities I can remember. Before they're gone completely. Before none of us remember what the world looked like. She said it matter of fact. Calm. Archiving the past like it's a research project. Like she's documenting extinct species. I asked her how she was feeling. Standard question. Medical assessment disguised as parental concern. Good. Better than good actually. I ran 12 miles yesterday. On the track. Didn't get tired. My cardiovascular efficiency. It's improving. Respiratory capacity up 18% from last month. She stated it clinical. Like she's monitoring herself. Like her own body is an experiment she's tracking. She's 14. Talking about cardiovascular efficiency. Measuring her own mutation progress. Speaking like a researcher, not a child. That's good, honey. I didn't know what else to say. Good that you're getting stronger. Good that you're diverging. Good that you're becoming other. I wanted to ask her. About the files. About the psychological modifications. About whether she still feels human. whether she still feels like my daughter. But how do you ask that? How do you ask someone if they're still a person? Fiona, do you? Do you think about the future? What do you want? When you're older? When this is all? When things stabilize? She tilted her head, thinking. That gesture. She used to do that as a kid. Tilt her head when processing something. Still does it. Some things haven't changed. Or they look the same. Hard to tell which. I want to help rebuild. She said it simple. Direct. The altered. We're stronger. We can survive outside better. In the radiation zones. We can reclaim areas that are too contaminated for non-altered. We can make the world bigger again. Safer. We can be useful. Useful. She's talking about herself like she's a tool. Like the altered are equipment. Resources. Not people. What about? I'm choosing words carefully. What about family? Relationships. Do you think about that? She looked at me. Those gray eyes. Silver gray. Not brown anymore. Not her mother's eyes. I think about you. About the other adults here. You're important. You kept us alive this long. You maintained the facility. Protected us. That matters. Her voice. Calm. Measured. Like she's delivering a mission report. Not talking about her father. I love you, Fiona. I said it direct. Testing. Wanting to hear what she says back. Wanting to hear emotion. Human connection. I know. She said it automatic. Like responding to protocol. I care about you too, Dad. You're my father. That's important. But, she hesitated. Rare. Fiona doesn't hesitate much anymore. Decisive. Direct. Modification side effect. But what? But the survival analysis. The resource calculations. They make sense. Don't they? The facility can't support everyone long term. The altered consume less. Produce more. We're adapted. If the adults. If reduction happens. We survive. The species survives. That's what matters. Right? She's asking me. If I agree that killing me makes sense. If I support the mathematics that says my death is efficient. She's asking like it's a genuine question. Like she's seeking my professional opinion on whether eliminating her father is good policy. I'm staring at her. My daughter. 14 years old. Asking me to agree with my own termination. Asking calmly. Rationally. Without tears. Without emotion. Just clinical assessment. You think I should accept the voluntary program. Die to save resources. So you can survive better. She paused. Looked down at her drawing. Kansas City skyline. Dead city. Beautiful sketch. I think you'll choose what you choose. But logically, yes. The voluntary option is better. For you. Peaceful. Painless. Better than radiation zone work. Better than slow death. And it helps us. The altered. Better resources. Better chance. She looked back up. Her expression. Calm. No conflict. I understand if you're upset. The psychological literature says non-altered have stronger emotional attachment to survival. It's biological. Doesn't mean you're wrong to feel that way. She's analyzing my will to live as psychological baseline difference. Like my desire not to die is evolutionary artifact. Limitation she doesn't share. This is the divergence. This is what the files predicted. Reduced empathy. Altered emotional processing. She cares about me. In her way. But it's not human caring. Not daughter-to-father bond. It's something else. Something clinical. Detached. Do you remember? When you were little. When we'd go to the park. You'd play on the swings. Get scared at the top. I'd catch you. Tell you I wouldn't let you fall. Do you remember that? I remember. She smiled. Small smile. The park on Westport. Oak trees. Red swings. You'd push me. I'd laugh. I remember laughing. The files say I remember it. The neural patterns are stored. But, she stopped. But what? But I don't feel it the same way. The memory's there. Clear. Perfect actually. Enhanced memory processing. But the emotion. The feeling. It's distant. Like it happened to someone else. Like I'm watching a recording of a different girl. Is that wrong? She's asking me. If her loss of humanity is wrong. If the modification stealing her emotional baseline is wrong. She knows something's changed. Knows she's different. But doesn't feel distress about it. Can't feel distress. The modifications prevent it. No, honey. It's not wrong. It's just different. You're adapting. Changing. That's okay. I'm lying. It's not okay. Losing her humanity isn't okay. But what else do I say? Your brain's being rewritten, and you're becoming something that doesn't love me the way you used to, and that's destroying me. But it's fine for you, because you can't feel loss anymore. How do you say that? I talked to Tommy yesterday. Fiona continued. Visitation room next to mine. We can't physically interact. Quarantine protocols. But we can talk through the glass. He's altered too. 15. His mother took the voluntary last week. Oh God. Tommy's mother. I knew her. Dr. Brennan. Physicist. Good woman. Brilliant. She accepted termination. For her son. How? How is Tommy handling that? He's okay. Fiona said it casual. Said it's logical. She was 46. Resource intensive. He's sad. Sort of. But he understands the mathematics. He knows it helps him survive. Helps all of us survive. He's fine. His mother killed herself. And he's fine. 14-year-old boy. Mother dead. Fine. That's the divergence. That's what they're becoming. Children who can watch their parents die and calculate it as acceptable. Children who process parental death as resource optimization. Children who aren't children anymore. Fiona, if I take the voluntary, you'll be okay? You'll be all right without me? I'll survive. She stated it factual. The altered community is strong. We support each other. Form bonds. Different than family bonds. But functional. Effective. I'll miss you. I think. The way I can miss things now. But I'll adapt. I always adapt. She'll miss me the way she can. Not the way humans miss people. The way altered miss people. Whatever that means. Whatever emotion remains after the modifications strip away everything that makes grief human. I wanted to tell her. About the files. About Project Chrysalis. About what she's becoming. About the test subjects they killed because they diverged too far. But what's the point? She can't change it. Can't stop it. The modifications are autonomous. Self-perpetuating. By age 20 she'll be fully diverged. Complete speciation. The files are clear. My daughter. She's sitting across from me. 3 feet away. Reinforced glass between us. Physically close. But psychologically. Miles. Light years. Different species. She looks like Fiona. Sounds like Fiona. But Fiona's gone. Replaced by something wearing her face. Using her voice. Something that calls me dad, but doesn't mean it the way she used to. Can't mean it. Not anymore. The clock chimed. 30 minutes. Visitation over. Protocol. I have to go, Fiona Bear. Okay, Dad. She smiled. Picked up her drawing. See you tomorrow? Yeah. Tomorrow. Same time. Love you. She said it. Automatic. Response pattern. Learned behavior maintained even as the emotion behind it fades. Love you too, sweetheart. I said it. Meaning it. Knowing she can't fully return it. Not anymore. I hung up the handset. Stood. Walked to the door. Looked back. Fiona was already drawing again. New sketch. Different city. Archiving the dead world. Preparing for the future. The post-human future. She didn't look up as I left. I stood outside the quarantine wing. Watching through the observation window. Fiona drawing. Tommy in the next room. Reading. Other altered children. Scattered through the wing. All of them calm. Contained. Efficient. Adapting. The medical staff. They monitor constantly. Vital signs. Behavior patterns. Psychological assessments. Documenting the modifications. Tracking the progression. Scientific observation of our children becoming other. I pulled up Fiona's medical file. My access codes. Chief Medical Officer clearance. Her full documentation. Genetic analysis. Cellular samples. Psychological evaluations. The psych reports. Latest one. Week ago. Subject demonstrates continued emotional baseline reduction. Empathy response decreased 23% from previous assessment. Parental attachment showing significant weakening. Social bonding shifting toward altered peer group exclusively. Recommendation: continue monitoring. Subject progressing within expected parameters for age 14, altered juvenile. Expected parameters. My daughter's loss of humanity is within expected parameters. Her inability to love me properly is documented, measured, normal for what she's becoming. I'm reading my daughter's file, clinical analysis of her psychological death, and I'm the one who ordered these assessments. I'm the one who's been tracking her modifications, documenting her divergence, contributing to the research that proves she's becoming other. I'm her father, and I'm the doctor who's confirming she's not my daughter anymore. Not really. Not in any way that matters. That's my choice. That's what I can't escape. Stay alive. Watch her diverge completely over the next 6 years. Watch her become something that looks at me and sees obsolete biology. Or die now. Peaceful. Before I have to see the moment when she stops recognizing me as father. When she sees me as resource drain. As problem to eliminate. The files predict it. Age 18 to 20. Aggression toward non-altered increases. Survival instinct overrides social inhibition. They'll eliminate us, the altered children, not out of hatred, not out of malice, just logic. We consume resources they need. We're competition. We're inferior. Evolution doesn't preserve the inferior. Fiona will do it. Not personally, maybe, but she'll agree with it, support it. Watch me die and calculate it as acceptable, as necessary, as correct. My daughter's going to kill me. Not today, not next year, but eventually, when she's diverged enough, when the modifications complete their work. She'll look at me with those silver gray eyes and decide I'm a problem that needs solving. And she won't feel guilt, won't feel loss, won't feel anything except relief that the resource drain has been eliminated. Not violence, not blood. Just Fiona, my daughter, calm, rational, explaining why I need to die, using logic, using my own medical data, using the modifications that stole her humanity to justify eliminating mine. I can see it. Future moment. Her at 20, me at 50 if I survive that long. Her explaining the mathematics, the resource calculations, the survival analysis, all of it leading to one conclusion. I'm obsolete. Baseline humanity is extinct. Time to formalize it. And she'll be right. By every measure. By every calculation. The altered are superior survivors. They're adapted. We're not. Evolution's already chosen. We're just waiting for the paperwork to clear. This is Dr. Trent Clive. Facility 7. Year 7. I've seen the future. It's my daughter's calm gray eyes explaining why I have to die. It's her clinical voice stating the mathematics of extinction. It's her enhanced biology surviving while mine fails. The nuclear war killed billions. But it didn't kill humanity. The bioweapon did that. The modifications. Project Chrysalis. The super soldier program succeeding 9 years too late to save the species it was meant to enhance. We're extinct. We haven't stopped breathing yet. Haven't finished dying. But the outcome's determined. The altered inherit the earth. Baseline humanity becomes history. Archived in Fiona's drawings. Remembered the way she can remember. Distant. Detached. Clinical. My daughter will outlive humanity by 2 centuries. She'll be the future. The new species. And she'll look back at us. At baseline humans. At her father. The way we look at Neanderthals. Evolutionary dead end. Interesting. Historical. Extinct. I don't know if I should die now or wait 6 years and watch it happen. Either way, I'm gone. We're all gone. The altered just. Haven't processed our termination yet. Haven't completed the paperwork. But they will. When they're ready. When the divergence is complete. They'll eliminate us. Efficiently. Logically. Without malice. Without guilt. That's the horror. Not that they'll kill us. But that they'll be right to do it. March 14th. Year 7. Today, 2 months after voluntary program began. 2 months of watching adults disappear. 2 months of my daughter asking me when I'm going to accept the logical choice. I made my decision. I'm not taking the voluntary. I'm not dying quietly. I'm not letting them erase baseline humanity without documentation. Without truth. Without someone knowing what actually happened here. I've copied the files. Project Chrysalis. The complete research documentation. Pre-war experiments. Juvenile test subjects. Psychological divergence patterns. the termination recommendations. All of it, burned to isolated storage, physical media, digital redundancy, hidden in systems they don't monitor, systems they don't know exist. I've recorded everything. This documentation, my observations, Fiona's progression, the voluntary program, the mathematics of extinction, the truth about what's happening, what's been done to our children, what we're becoming. I'm leaving it for whoever comes after. If anyone comes after, if there's anyone left who's still human enough to care, human enough to understand what was lost. The military knows I have the files. Colonel Pemberton called me to his office this morning. Secure facility. Just us. He knew. I don't know how. Maybe they monitor my access. Maybe they track everyone who enters the sublevel labs. Doesn't matter. He knew. He asked me what I planned to do with the research, with the documentation, with the truth. I told him I'm exposing it, broadcasting it, every surviving facility, every settlement. Everyone needs to know that the modifications aren't natural, that they're bioweapon activation, that the government created this, tested it on children, tried to bury it, lost control when the war activated dormant vectors. Pemberton listened. Let me finish. Then he told me something I didn't expect. He said he knows. Command knows. Federal authority. What's left of it? They all know. About Project Chrysalis. About the pre-war experiments. About what the altered are becoming. They've known since year 3. Since the modifications started presenting consistent with classified research patterns. He said they didn't hide it out of malice. They hid it because the truth doesn't change anything. The modifications are autonomous. Can't be reversed. Can't be stopped. Telling people that their children were infected with military bioweapon. That they're becoming new species engineered to replace baseline humanity. What does that accomplish? Except panic. Except despair. He said the voluntary program. The adult termination. It's mercy, not murder. Because in 3 years, maybe 4, the altered will reach sufficient divergence. Sufficient population. They won't need adults anymore. Won't want adults. We'll become problem, threat, and they'll eliminate us anyway. Voluntary program lets us choose. Lets us die on our terms. Before our children are forced to kill us. Before Fiona has to calculate my termination. Before she has to choose between me and her survival. He's saying they're killing us to spare our children from having to do it. That's the mercy. Not for us. For them. So the altered don't have to live with eliminating their parents. Don't have to carry that, even if they can't feel guilt anymore. Still, protocol, procedure, clean transition. I asked him why he's telling me this. Why explain if they're just going to terminate me anyway? He said I have choice. Same as everyone. Voluntary program. Peaceful death. Fiona gets priority resources. Enhanced future. Or, alternative. He offered me transfer. To external research station. Outside the facility. Abandoned military base. 40 miles south. Radiation levels high. Contaminated. But survivable. For me. For the other adults who refuse voluntary. We can go there. Work there. Scavenge. Research. Survive as long as we can. Away from the altered. Away from our children. Separate populations. Clean division. He said 23 adults have chosen transfer. Refused to die. Refused to stay. Leaving their children. Going to contaminated zones. Living out their remaining years away from the modified species that's replacing them. It's exile. Voluntary exile. For adults who won't accept death. Who won't watch their children become other. Who want to survive. Even if it means abandoning everything. Everyone. He's giving me 72 hours to decide. Voluntary termination. Transfer to external station. Or, stay. And in 3 months get assigned to radiation work details. Slow death. But still here. Still near Fiona. For whatever that's worth. 3 choices. All of them end with separation from my daughter. All of them end with me gone. Just different timelines. Different methods. I'm sitting in my quarters. Looking at Fiona's drawings. The ones she gave me over the years. Cities. Parks. Houses. The world before. Drawn from her enhanced memory. Perfect recall. She's archiving humanity. Doesn't even know that's what she's doing. Just preserving the species that came before her, before Homo superior, before the altered inherited the earth. I don't know what to choose. Die now. Die in 3 months. Die in 2 years in contaminated exile. All roads lead same place. Just different routes. Fiona won't cry, won't mourn, won't feel lost the way humans feel loss. She'll be fine, adapted, functional. She'll survive without me, thrive without me. Her modifications guarantee it. That's what the bioweapon did. It didn't just make them stronger, faster, more resistant. It made them capable of surviving without us. Psychologically, emotionally. They don't need parents, don't need baseline humanity. They're designed to inherit post-nuclear world. Alone, self-sufficient, independent. We built our own replacement. Defense Department, Project Chrysalis, Super Soldier Program. We engineered the species that's extincting us. Created them, tested them, tried to kill them, failed. Then lost control when the war we caused activated the weapon we built to win wars. The irony, we destroyed ourselves twice. Once with nukes, once with bioweapon designed to make better soldiers. Both times, trying to be superior, trying to win, trying to survive, and we succeeded. We created survivors. Just, not us, them, the altered, the children. They'll survive, they'll rebuild. They'll inherit everything. We'll be extinct. Archived in databases. Drawn in Fiona's sketches. Remembered the way she can remember. Clinical. Detached. Historical. I'm leaving this recording. Leaving the files. Leaving the truth. For whoever's left. Whoever's still human enough to care. To understand. To know what we were. What we lost. What replaced us. This is Dr. Trent Clive, Chief Medical Officer. Facility 7. Fort Riley Biohazard Research Complex, Kansas, Year 7 Post-Exchange, March 14, 2032. The United States government created biological weapon designated Project Chrysalis. Tested on juvenile subjects. Achieved successful genetic modification using radiation-triggered vector. Modifications granted enhanced physical capabilities. Extended lifespan. Cost was psychological divergence. Loss of baseline human emotional structure. Speciation by age 20. Program was terminated pre-war. Test subjects eliminated. Weapon sealed. Dormant. Nuclear exchanges year 0 activated sealed vectors in surviving facilities. Infected juvenile population. Modifications successful in approximately 200 children across 6 surviving government installations. Altered population confirmed at Fort Riley. Fort Detrick. Site are Mount Weather. 2 other classified locations. Adult population being systematically reduced. Resource prioritization. Transition to altered primary facilities. Voluntary termination program. External exile. Forced attrition. Multiple methods. Same outcome. Baseline human extinction. Timeline. 3 to 5 years. Complete population replacement. Altered-only facilities. New species. Post-human world. This is the truth. This is what happened. Government created weapon. Lost control. Weapon activated during war. Weapon succeeding. Baseline humanity extinct by 2037. Projected. My daughter Fiona. Age 14. Altered. Enhanced. Diverging. Will survive 2 centuries. Will inherit the earth. Will not remember me. Not the way humans remember. Will archive me. The way she archives extinct cities. Historical. Interesting. Gone. I'm choosing transfer. External station. I can't watch her complete the divergence. Can't be here when she looks at me and sees obstacle. Can't wait for the day she calculates my termination. I'm leaving. Exile. Contaminated zones. However many months or years I have left. Away from her. Away from the children who aren't children anymore. Maybe I'm a coward. Maybe I should stay. Watch to the end. Document the completion. But I can't. I can't watch my daughter stop being my daughter. Can't see the moment when Fiona's gone completely. When there's nothing left but altered. Enhanced. Other. I'm leaving tomorrow. 23 other adults. We're taking supplies. Equipment. Medical resources. Going to the external station. building, surviving, documenting, for as long as we can. Fiona doesn't know yet. I'll tell her tonight, during visitation. 30 minutes. Reinforced glass. I'll tell her I'm leaving. Transferring. She'll ask why. I'll tell her, because I can't watch you become something that doesn't need me. Something that doesn't love me. Not anymore. Not the way you used to. She'll understand. Logically. She'll calculate it as acceptable. Efficient. Clean separation. She won't feel abandoned. Can't feel abandoned. Not anymore. Modifications prevent it. She'll say goodbye. Mean it the way she can mean things now. Distant. Clinical. Functional. And I'll leave. My daughter. My facility. My life. Everything. I'll go die slowly in contaminated exile, rather than watch her forget what humanity was. What I was. What we had before the modifications stole it. That's my choice. That's what loving a child who can't love you back looks like. You leave, so they don't have to watch you break. So they don't have to calculate your termination. So you can pretend, for a little while longer, that somewhere, somehow, your daughter still exists. Still remembers. Still cares. Even though you know she doesn't. Can't. Won't ever again. This is Dr. Trent Clive. Final recording. Facility 7. I'm leaving the files. The truth. The documentation. For whoever comes after. For whoever's still human. Still cares. Still remembers what we were. Baseline humanity ends here. In this facility. In these children. In these modifications. We end not with war. Not with radiation. But with evolution we created, species we designed, children we loved who became something else. Fiona will survive. The altered will thrive. They'll rebuild, create new civilization, post-human world, better survivors, superior species. But they won't be us, won't remember us. Not really. We'll be archived, preserved, historical. That's our legacy. Not the world we built, not the civilization we maintained. Just. Extinction. Clean. Efficient. Logical. The altered inherit the earth. We become history. That's the truth. That's what Project Chrysalis achieved. That's what the government created and couldn't control. My daughter's drawing cities that don't exist anymore. Someday. Someone. Some altered historian. They'll find her sketches. Marvel at them. Study them. Learn about baseline humans. The species that came before. The ones who built the old world. The ones who destroyed it. The ones who created the modifications. The ones who went extinct. They'll look at Fiona's drawings. Her perfect memory. Her clinical precision. And they'll understand. We were here. We existed. We loved our children. Even as our children became something that couldn't love us back. That's humanity's epitaph. We loved what replaced us. We created our successors. We died knowing they'd survive. They'd thrive. They'd forget us, but we loved them anyway. Loved them until we couldn't anymore. Until they diverged too far. Until we had to leave. Had to exile ourselves. Had to die away from them. So they wouldn't have to watch. Wouldn't have to calculate. Wouldn't have to choose. That's love. Post-human world. Baseline humans loving altered children who can't reciprocate. Can't understand. Can't feel it back. That's what the bioweapons stole. Not just our survival. Our connection, our humanity, our children. This is Dr. Trent Clive, signing off. Facility 7, Year 7, the last years of baseline humanity. Someone find this. Someone remember. We were here. We tried. We loved our children, even as they became our extinction. That has to count for something, has to mean something, even if they can't understand it, even if they'll never feel what we felt, even if we're just archived history to them. We loved them. Until the end. Until exile. Until death. We loved them. That's what humanity was. In the end. Love that couldn't be returned. Love that cost us everything. Love that killed us. We loved them anyway.